This is absolutely hilarious. Am I the only person that thinks this is hilarious? I'm trying to... Is this the only time we've ever seen a situation like this happen? Where a player has been suspended, not for a game, for a half. She's suspended for a half. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. She is suspended for a half a basketball game.
The Chicago Sky locker room has reached a breaking point, and Angel Reese has finally crossed a line that even her teammates can no longer tolerate. What began as frustration over a disappointing season has evolved into a crisis so severe that the franchise has been forced to take drastic action against their so-called star player.
According to the report, Reese said she doesn't believe her teammates Rachel Banham or Haley Van Lith are capable of leading a playoff team. Guard Ariel Atkins is another player on the Sky's roster with WNBA championship experience. Tyler Marsh said, "We are aware of it." What Angel Reese said, "We're addressing it in-house as currently speaking. That's where we'll stay right now."
Reese, once hailed as a player on par with Caitlin Clark, has now become the embodiment of what happens when personal ego outweighs team chemistry and public statements tear apart relationships that are supposed to be built on mutual respect and trust. Her actions have turned her from a promising player into a cautionary tale about the dangers of self-centered leadership in a team sport.
Did self-run off of sports. The entire team has seen Reese's comments, and they're basically unhappy with the direct attacks. They are even planning a team meeting to talk about it. We'll read you some of the excerpts, which does kind of not make her team look good. One of which say, "We can't rely on Courtney," that's Courtney Vandersloot, "to come back at the age that she's at. I know she'll be a great asset for us, but we can't rely on that. We need someone probably a little younger with some experience, somebody who's been playing the game and is willing to compete for a championship and has done it before."
Angel Reese's most recent controversy goes far beyond basketball performance. It's about character, leadership, and the respect that teammates owe one another. This situation isn't just a matter of performance on the court. It's a devastating breakdown of team dynamics, and Reese has shown herself to be a major part of the problem.
To be here for the rest of my career, but if things don't pan out, obviously I might have to move in a different direction and do what's best for me.
In a stunning act of self-sabotage, Reese made remarks so damaging that her own team had no choice but to suspend her for actions that directly harmed the morale and integrity of the group. However, this suspension was only the beginning of a full-scale revolt within the organization, one that has left Reese's future with the Chicago Sky hanging by the thinnest of threads.
Also, you guys remember the story. Angel Reese calling out her teammates, calling out the front office. You're a bum, you're a bum, you're a bum. You're a bum. Yeah, you ladies won't do it for me. Coach Marsh, can you please coach harder? Yeah, Angel Reese. 48 hours later, already backtracking on those statements, already moonwalking like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, he'd probably be proud how quickly Angel Reese is moonwalking from the comments she made. And I have an exclusive.
The breaking point came when Reese sat down with the Chicago Tribune and declared that the team needed great players and refused to accept the same level of performance the franchise had shown this past year. While some might interpret these comments as the fire of a competitive spirit, to her teammates, they were a public betrayal. Reese's words effectively declared that her fellow players were insufficient and that the team needed to replace them with better talent.
I'm not settling for the same shit we did this year. We have to get good players. We have to get great players. That's a non-negotiable for me. I am willing and wanting to play with the best, and however I can help to get the best here, that's what I'm going to do this offseason. So it's going to be very, very important this offseason to make sure that we attract the best of the best, because we can't settle for what we have this year. So her saying we can't settle for what we have this year, that is basically like a slap in the face to Becca Allen. That is a slap in the face to Rachel Banham. That is a slap in the face to Ariel Atkins.
Rachel Banham, a veteran guard who had committed years to the franchise, felt blindsided by Reese's comments. Ariel Atkins, who had supported Reese through every previous controversy, finally reached her breaking point. Reese's great players comment was not a generalized critique of the team's roster, it was a direct attack on her teammates, players who had fought alongside her through one of the most challenging seasons in franchise history. Reese specifically questioned whether Rachel Bannum or Hailey Van Lith could lead a playoff team, while dismissing 36-year-old Courtney Vandersloot, saying the team couldn't rely on someone her age and needed someone younger with more experience. These weren't private conversations intended to shape future strategy. They were public executions of teammates disguised as basketball analysis.
Chicago Sky values safety, respect, and well-being of every player. We're committed to accountability so our players can stay focused on playing basketball. Because of statements made by Angel Reese during league-mandated media, I've never seen this before, but she is getting suspended for a half. Not a game. Not a game. One half. One half she is getting suspended for. That is absolutely hilarious.
What made Reese's statements even more damaging wasn't simply the content, but the way she delivered them. While Caitlin Clark was dealing with intense scrutiny during her rookie season, facing physical play, hostile crowds, and heightened expectations, she chose to lift her teammates and the organization with her. Clark used adversity to build camaraderie and elevate those around her.
And listen, I totally get that, because if you are somebody with a lot of star power, you don't want your career just like rotting away in a place, especially the Sky. The GM, Jeff Pagliocca, he absolutely sold the Sky's future. He traded away draft picks for this like win now mentality. And who he drafted? Now, I don't want to speak bad about Hailey Van Lith, but she has not had a mentor to actually mentor her to be any proper type of point guard. So she's kind of been flying in the dark. She hasn't exactly proven her worth in the W.
In stark contrast, Reese, in the face of organizational struggles, took the low road, tearing down the very players who had supported her through thick and thin. The difference could not be more glaring. Clark built trust and respect with every challenge, while Reese tore apart the very foundation of the team at the first sign of difficulty.
This is the reason I have spent the last few years referring to the WNBA as a dump. This is the reason I don't feel bad when I refer to the WNBA as a toxic turd. Not only have they damn near ruined their opportunity with Caitlin Clark, the dump diver they chose to support, the pretend basketball player they have spent the last 2 years begging you to support. They desperately want her to be accepted. They are desperate to make her a star. Not only has she been rejected by normal people, Angel Reese is now being rejected and potentially kicked off of her own team.
The reaction from her teammates was swift, and it was nothing short of devastating. Multiple league sources confirmed that the entire Sky roster had seen Reese's comments and were deeply displeased with her direct attacks. A players-only meeting was immediately called, but not to offer support to Reese. The goal was to address the damage she had inflicted on team morale.
Angel Reese, earlier in the week, in an interview, threw her Chicago Sky teammates under a bus and then ran the bus over them and then backed up the bus, bouncing over them again, and then proceeded to drive over them one more good time just to be sure that their carcasses were no longer twitching. It was one of the most me, selfish ass interviews I've ever heard from any athlete, trashing her very own team.
During this meeting, Ariel Atkins, who had been one of Reese's staunchest supporters, addressed Reese directly, making it clear that her behavior was not acceptable. Rachel Bannum's response to the controversy revealed just how hurtful Reese's comments had been. "I think I just don't really care anymore," she told the Chicago Sun-Times. "If I was younger, it would have affected me more, but I'm grown, and I just don't care." The resignation in Bannum's voice wasn't just about basketball, it was the realization that someone she had supported for years had publicly declared her to be inadequate.
Getting suspended for a first half? What is this, college football? I've seen in college where people will get suspended for a half. Not in the pros. People getting suspended for a half game in the pros. Just suspend her for the whole game. Y'all don't have nothing to lose. Y'all don't have nothing to lose. If you're going to suspend her, just suspend her for another game. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Suspending her for a half is kind of weird. But yeah, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Bannum's words were a clear sign of just how deeply Reese's actions had cut. Munyal Bannon Irel Atkins, who had defended Reese in the past, publicly supported the team's decision to suspend their star player. Ownership handled it how they see fit, Atkins stated, and they have full support from our team. When asked if she had spoken with Reese following the meeting, Atkins admitted she hadn't, further emphasizing how completely Reese had alienated even those who had stood by her in the past. The Sky's response to Reese's actions was as severe as it was unprecedented. The initial half-game suspension seemed relatively mild, but sources inside the organization revealed that this was just the beginning. Disciplinary action could ultimately lead to Reese's removal from the team altogether. The franchise released a statement reaffirming its commitment to accountability and to ensuring that players could remain focused on basketball, a clear indication that Reese's personal drama had become a distraction the organization was no longer willing to tolerate.
See, we don't have many players nowadays that know how to go through that building phase and know how to stick through in the hard times and come out, when it's sunny outside. Everybody just want to just hop to where it's already a finished product and then just add their little spin to it. Because hypothetically, let's say right now, yeah, she can go hop on Minnesota and win a ring, but is that fulfilling? Like, she can go hop on Las Vegas Aces right now and help them, get there. And if she win a ring with them, but is that fulfilling? Because now it's just like you just ring chasing, which everybody should want to win a ring. But it's like, come on, at what cost? Like, winning a ring is the...
Coach Tyler Marsh, who had been caught completely off guard by Reese's public statements, confirmed that the suspension was a decision made from the top down. The fact that management felt compelled to discipline their star player, one who was supposed to be the cornerstone of the team, speaks volumes about how seriously they took the damage done to team chemistry. When the coaching staff and front office are publicly rebuking a player, it's a clear sign that her time with the organization is coming to an end.
I don't care how great you are. I don't care how talented you are. If you're constantly causing problems, if you can't get along with your colleagues, there always comes a point when the bullshit outweighs the talent. Organizations will only tolerate so much. Everyone has a breaking point. You can't be a pain in the ass. You can't ostracize your teammates while being a huge embarrassing failure. You can't be a problem when you can't win a damn game.
Veteran player Elizabeth Williams attempted to offer a more diplomatic take, suggesting that Reese didn't intend to disrespect her teammates, but even she acknowledged that the comments represented a significant failure in leadership and communication. The fact that Reese's own teammates felt the need to step in and provide damage control in the media speaks to just how far Reese had gone in losing control of the narrative. What makes Reese's actions all the more damaging is the sharp contrast with how other star players handle adversity. Take Caitlin Clark, for example. When she faced criticism during her rookie season, she let her game do the talking and consistently praised her teammates for their efforts. Clark understood that true leadership involves elevating others and taking responsibility for challenges rather than scapegoating teammates to deflect from personal shortcomings.
I don't think I'm frustrated. I probably am frustrated myself right now. I think the language is taken out of context. And I really didn't intentionally mean to put down my teammates because they've been through this with me throughout the whole year. They've busted their ass just how I busted my ass. They showed up for me through thick and thin and in the locker room when nobody could see anything. So I would apologize to my teammates, which I already have, about the article and how it was misconstrued, about what was said. And I just have to be better with my language because I know it's not the message, it's the messenger, and understanding what I say can be taken any kind of way. So I just have to really be better and grow from this.
Clark's approach built respect and loyalty, while Reese's actions have caused deep divisions that may be irreparable. The timing of Reese's comments couldn't have been worse. With the Sky already out of playoff contention and sitting at a disastrous 10-30 record, the team needed unity and strong leadership. What they didn't need was public finger-pointing and blame-shifting. Instead of taking responsibility for her own struggles, including leading the league in turnovers while missing a significant portion of the season, Reese chose to blame everyone around her, casting herself as the victim of organizational incompetence. The fallout from Reese's comments has made it abundantly clear just how deep the dysfunction within the organization runs. When veteran players like Rachel Banham openly admit they are over all of this, it's a stark indictment of the toxic environment Reese's behavior has fostered. These are professional athletes who have dedicated their careers to the game, and they are now being forced to deal with unnecessary drama created by a teammate who can't handle adversity with grace or maturity.
I think the Chicago Bravado are realizing that Angel Reese is not worth the trouble. This is just the beginning. I think this is step one of the process, the first stage of divorce. I think the Chicago Bravado are preparing to trade the face of failure.
The contrast between Reese's public statements and Caitlin Clark's leadership style couldn't be more pronounced. While Clark consistently praised her teammates and took responsibility for the team's struggles, Reese chose to place blame on everyone but herself. Clark's leadership has fostered a championship culture, while Reese's approach has fostered resentment and division that could take years to repair. Perhaps the most telling aspect of this entire controversy is how quickly Reese's teammates turned against her. These are players who had stood by her through every previous controversy, defended her against criticism, and worked hard to build chemistry with a teammate who clearly didn't value their efforts. The fact that players like Ariel Atkins and Rachel Bannum felt compelled to publicly air their frustrations shows just how completely Reese has violated the trust and respect that hold teams together. When Reese attempted to apologize, it only made matters worse. Rather than taking full responsibility for her hurtful comments, she claimed they had been taken out of context and misconstrued. This deflection only deepened the rift between her and her teammates. They weren't upset about the context or interpretation of her words. They were upset because someone they had supported had publicly declared them unworthy, while simultaneously threatening to leave the team unless they were replaced with better players. The fallout from Reese's behavior has likely sealed her fate in Chicago. It's not her basketball performance that's the issue. It's her complete failure as a teammate and leader. Her public statements didn't merely criticize the organization. They destroyed the relationships and trust that are essential to any team's success. The Sky's response, fully supported by her teammates, makes it clear that there are lines a player cannot cross no matter how talented they are.